Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. What did you say? Silver-haired Saint Cumberland wondered if he had heard it wrong. Lu Sheng smiled slightly, and then. Step by step into the sky, open your arms. The disguise on his body melted as quickly as wax, revealing the original appearance below. The brown slightly curly hair became straight, the facial features changed, and the body shape also changed slightly. After a few short breaths, a perfect body like a creation from God appeared in front of everyone. It's the face of an Oriental. In an instant, on and under the tower, the eyes of many people suddenly widened, and their faces showed disbelief. It turned out it was him? A series of extremely shocked eyes converged on Lu Sheng, and Lu Sheng turned a deaf ear. He inhaled slightly, and an inexplicable force surged out of his body. 5 fingers grip. Boom. 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 In an instant, 30 towers in the field burst open and collapsed from the bottom. The first step is to smash the tower. Lu Sheng whispered to himself. Boom. 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 In the billowing smoke and dust from the collapse of the tower, the mighty aura that connected the sky and the earth suddenly rose. The rays of light converge, and the outline of a giant is generated. The silver-haired Saint Cumberland stepped out of the dust, his handsome face full of grimness and sternness. Who are you? The corners of Lu Sheng's mouth rose slightly, and his eyes were beating with fiery fighting intent. His body tensed like a big bow, and then relaxed. Rush out like a light beyond an arrow. Under Fiona's stunned gaze, a punch hit Cumberland hard in the cheek, sending him flying away. Beat me, I'll tell you. Boom. The two figures did not enter Qianqing Island, 350 out of everyone's sight. But soon, bursts of fire burst into the sky, buildings with exquisite shapes quickly collapsed, and rows of tropical trees fell. The two figures returned to everyone's sight, fighting together. The large swathes of heaven and earth on Qianqing Island were stirred, but they were constantly scattered before they were condensed. A figure was crushed and beaten by another figure. The perpetrator was stalwart, young and handsome like a god. Every time he punches, it seems that the rules of heaven and earth are in the sky, and the so-called general situation is stirred like a paste in his hands. The person who was beaten had messy silver hair, and he was passive and almost did not even have the strength to parry. Everyone was stunned, including the 9th-level martial saints who came down from the tower. At this time, Cumberland's angry voice rolled from a distance. What are you looking at? Why don't you come to help? Boom. An iron fist slammed into Cumberland's cheek, knocking the last word out of his mouth. Only then did the 9th-level martial saint come back to his senses. The first reaction in my mind was a thought. President of the World Wushu Association, Chairman of the Western Wushu League, the world's top 5 silver-haired Wushing Cumberland. Can't beat an 8th-level Oriental youth who appeared out of nowhere? At this time, you are being beaten by the other party, and you have to ask them for help? How ridiculous. But shock was shock, and some people also acted accordingly. The actionable direction is not the battle group, but the nearly 500 kilograms of energy crystals that go straight to the center of the field. These chaotic times are the perfect time to work for your own good. Several 9th-level martial saints almost invariably rushed to the location of the energy crystal. There is light. A stalwart body suddenly appeared in front of them, blocking the energy crystal. He stretched out his big hand, and 500 kilograms of energy crystals rushed into his palm like flowing water, and the cuff of his shirt. I don't know where to hide, and disappeared without a trace in the breath. Lu Sheng's eyes were burning like 2 bright stars. He grinned, revealing his snow-white teeth, and said in a calm tone, "The spoils are only reserved for the ultimate winner. How can you break the rules without authorization?" In the next moment, he raised his arm as a knife and swept towards several 9th-level martial saints. Chong. The trembling sound of the scabbard. A huge golden knife ring with a length of more than 10 meters, wrapped in an unparalleled cold front, tore through the air, and brought out large tracts of dark traces, sweeping away towards several 9th-level martial saints. The pupils of several people shrank, and a large number of heaven and earth were mobilized in an instant. But the general momentum they grabbed was easily cut under the knife ring, and they retreated step by step, making a crackling sound. Several people retreated frantically, with horrified expressions on their faces. Now I know why even Cumberland was beaten. The boy in front of him. It's really unreasonable to be strong. Sheng ignored them, but turned to look at the other martial saints. His eyes swept across the faces full of shock and vigilance. His eyes were like two red-hot demon knives, and his body was tall and straight, like a spear piercing the sky and the earth. Black hair fluttered, vigorous. In his martial body, every cell is trembling, happy, excited. The raging fighting spirit swept the sky of the entire Qianqing Island, the sea was the platform, and the sky was the flag. This made him a long-awaited battle. This battle will definitely go down in history. In the 317th year of martial arts, the 239th level powerhouse of Azure Star. Sheng said every word. Every time he uttered a word, the curvature of the corner of his mouth would rise by 1 point, and the fiery and madness in his eyes would also skyrocket by an inch. He raised his right fist, and everything around him collapsed toward the center of his punch. Even light is included. This punch gave birth to compressed energy, like a black hole, and even a little black lightning flashed on the surface of the fist. The battle is on the Qianqing Island in the Shisha Ocean. Failed. As Sheng spit out the last word in his mouth, his fist of black hole also punched forward. Boom. It was as if a big drum sounded dully in everyone's heart. Suppressed to the extreme. Then. Explosion. Boom. The face of the rank 9 who was facing Sheng madly changed, and he stepped back madly. Large and dense black cracks spread from Sheng's fist, and then huge twisted invisible ripples suddenly spread. Boom boom boom. The earth cracks and the sea rolls back. Taking Sheng as the starting point, in the area to the west of Qianqing Island, most of the islands collapsed down like an earthquake. On the edge of the island, the waves rolled up hundreds of meters high, and the sea area for tens of kilometers rolled up like a tsunami. This punch. A catastrophe occurred. Boom. Sheng stepped forward, and the whole person appeared above the sky. He casually caught a nearby 9th level martial arts saint and punched it. A lot of heaven and earth are surging, and giants with different images, or the dharma of giants, are quickly condensed in the sky. The warband is on. All 9 levels. All pulled into the battlefield at this moment. Numb. Totally numb. The masters of various forces who participated in the Sejong conference on Qianqing Island. Look at the cracking ground beneath your feet, the slowly collapsing islands in the distance, and the tsunami. He looked dazed. This cataclysmic disaster seems to be happening in their minds. It's him, it's really him. On Minjiyutang's side, Pang Huayu's expression was sluggish, his eyes were lost, and he murmured these words over and over again. Beyond the martial arts hall, Lin Wanwan and Dong Xingyi were in a trance. It was only then that Dong Xingyi understood why he was the only one who was beaten up in the sea before, and everyone in the Beyond Martial Arts Hall was beaten. Dare to. Going around, this time the beating. Or his brother-in-law. On the Longwa Military Department's side, after a brief absence of the military department's ageless swords, all of them became super excited. Fuck, this is the future god of our military? I just said, how can there be so many evil spirits in this world that break common sense? This kind of arrogance is worthy of being worshipped as a god by our army. Our military department is happy. Daxing. Behind him, all the young generals in the army were all excited and couldn't help it. Only Dong Patian clenched his fists. There is unwillingness in his eyes, but more of it is deep powerlessness and confusion. The most deceived is Fiona. This pearl of the world that has been chased and praised by countless people. At this time, my mind is blank and messy. She does not know. Why did the man he liked suddenly change his appearance, and then he beat up her father and fought with all the 9th level martial arts? Why? Boom. On the blue sea of the Shisha Ocean, more than a dozen martial arts figures that penetrated the sky and the earth appeared. Among them, the tallest is more than 1,000 meters, and the shortest is also 400 or 500 meters. These martial arts ministers surrounded Lu Sheng, like a group of giants, leaning over and looking down at the ants under their feet at the same time. Lu Sheng didn't care about them, but set his sights on those martial saints who were still unwilling to condense the body of the law. Hidden and tucked? Really don't feel pain, don't you know how to do your best? Lu Sheng swept through these thorns one by one, and finally settled on one person. He grinned, and his whole body tore open the air and rushed towards him like a sword. The 5 fingers are spread out, and they are ironclad. The monstrous killing intent poured out from his 5 fingers. It's been a long time, Tan Wusheng. I have exploded your will projection countless times in the 7th Martial Holy Pagoda, and now, I finally have a chance. I beat you up. The white-robed middle-aged man who was locked by Lu Shengqi, his eyes flickered, and he suddenly pulled out the long knife hanging from his waist. The black long knife, in the process of Tan Zhongyu pulling it out. From the handle to the tip, every inch turns golden. As if made of pure gold. This is a powerful and unparalleled martial arts will poured into the long sword, penetrating the power of heaven and earth, making Fan Taisheng leap to the level of a sharp sword. It is also a kind of martial arts. Tan Zhongyu held the golden saber in both hands, and slashed at Lu Sheng with a knife in the middle. This knife spanned the spatial distance, like a ray of light, suddenly appeared in front of Lu Sheng.